Alrighty then.
Alrighty.
Hello.
then.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hey.
hello.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone who would like to participate in this live stream of Hidden Movie Club after the credits.
You don't even know what your own thing is called, man.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
He's rushing
Come
to
on,
get into
Elon.
it. He's clearly excited about the movie we've chosen.
Yeah.
Yes.
You all know you're a part of a club. I don't need to say
Hey.
that anymore.
Hello. Like
Yeah.
the record
What's the
show, I actually
password?
suggested this one. I think this was the one
You
that
did.
This
Yeah.
is this my first? Is this the first?
This is your
like,
fault.
Brad selected.
I think it is.
Film?
Yeah.
I think so, because I had never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times we would follow the Fathom events
Mhm.
anniversary re-releases. So yeah, this was the first time Brad was just like Innerspace, and we're like,
Innerspace.
okay, fine.
It was Innerspace or Captain Ron.
Yeah,
Right.
and isn't that exactly how it went? It was Innerspace, and then we were like, yeah, I haven't seen it, sure. And you were like, I haven't seen it in a long time, sure.
Yeah.
It's like pretty easy. I don't think anybody put up a fight or anything. So
No, it was, and I was like, well, it's coming out on 4K Blu-ray, and I will talk about the
Speaking of
quality and image quality and sound, and at some point in this podcast here, if we may be so bold.
another Arrow video release.
yes.
Yeah, man, they're kind of killing it
Arrow.
in terms of remasters, like 4K. I'm
Yeah.
looking at. I just realized now I'm looking at my camera tripod that's over there that normally has my camera on it, and it's empty. And it just I'm looking at it like a blank tripod, like a empty tripod, and I'm like, hello.
You're looking at no one.
For those wondering, not that anybody is, but other than me, I have upgraded my camera, but it has not arrived yet. My new camera, so. Got the Pocket 3 here. I got this camera. No, I'm just kidding. I just have the one camera. I should have hooked up the Osmo Action 5.
This
Have
camera,
like
this
that.
camera,
Oh,
this
yeah.
camera.
Tell the people what you got going on. You know, like turned it into like a whole Hot Ones thing. But yeah, I upgraded my camera, so we're doing this today with this.
We're in a similar situation. I ordered Innerspace from Arrow and have not received my copy yet. So we are both waiting for fun things.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the shipping email.
It took a while. Like, of course, as soon as I ordered it, I realized that it was coming from the East Coast. So I was like, ugh.
I shipped it.
Coming from New Jersey.
Oh, I didn't ship it.
New Jersey, they're still in the olden times.
So that's why, like we were talking about, batteries not included is what we're going to do next week. And that came way before Innerspace, even though I ordered Innerspace before. So yeah, it took over a week. It's like 10 days or something. I was like, dude, why? In 2026? Come on.
Where did you order batteries from?
Groove.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have like a 24-hour sale or something that I am very curious to check out.
The 22nd of May.
Yes. I have it on my calendar because I'm like exactly the type of person. Well, we talked about this when Criterion had their 50% off sale. I was like, I talked about it weeks in advance. And the day came and I was in like an all-day meeting. I just missed the whole thing. It was very sad for me because I've been waiting for that Wes Anderson collection.
Yeah.
I've been like holding out for that, waiting for that 50% sale. And Barnes and Noble sometimes has them. And the last time they were sold out of that collection. So in any case, back to Innerspace.
Back to Innerspace.
Hey, that rhymed. In any case, back to Innerspace.
Initial thoughts, Derek, because you have never seen it before.
I'll let Brad go first because it was his suggestion.
Oh yes, Brad, go first.
Well, okay. Initial thoughts from a kid that saw this when I was way too young, based on some of the jokes in the movie that I never realized, like the whole vibrating thing. Anyway,
the hand.
There's a lot of little things in this movie where I'm like, huh. I absolutely think that it is still one of my favorite like childhood movies. It is it perfect? No. It's got the typical, we'll just call it the Joe Danteism stuff. Like it's just it's weird. It's that like kind of mid to late 80s vibe with some of the special effects, some of the jokes and humor. They all kind of follow this kind of pattern of being just kind of slapstick off the wall, like the whole miniaturization of what was it Crimshaw? Was it Scrimshaw? Sorry, and like Margaret, like just that. I remember that just being a little kid watching this and thinking, this is how my brain worked as a kid. Like how did they film the two of them in the back seat while the other two were in the front driving, and it was literally forced perspective, like it was an overlarge back seat. Yeah,
the hobbits. They were hobbits.
The hobbits. Yeah, literally the back seat was like oversized and like 20 feet away, so they got it all in camera.
Right.
I told these guys
with the briefcase and all that stuff.
Yeah, the oversized briefcase. I think briefcase. But yeah, overall, I think that if you've never seen the movie, or if it's like a childhood favorite of yours, that the Arrow Video like 4K restoration definitely did it justice. And I feel like this is probably the best the movie's ever going to look. It is late 80s. It's grainy. It's the audio is not gonna.
Honestly, I mean, maybe it's just because I usually sit. It's about 13 feet away from my TV, but I thought it looked great. Like I didn't really see much grain. I mean, it's obviously there. It is present. But it wasn't like
it's not distracting. It's not distracting at all.
Yeah, it's not. And all the like most of the outdoor scenes don't really have much. It's all the interior kind of low light scenes. Now, it's not as grainy as something else I just watched recently from that kind of same time period is The Great Outdoors. It was another 4K restoration. I don't think it was Arrow Video, but yeah, that one's super grainy. But it different film stocks, different lights that were used, and different intent, right? Different creative intent. It's like, okay, this is a Gremlins, like not a Gremlins. This is like Joe Dante Gremlins, right? Like he did all of these types of movies, kind of weird things going on. I will say that there are some like composites in the movie like that look really good. They hold up really well. There's some that don't, but all of the effects of like Tuck in his body, like going through his bloodstream and everything looked super like realistic and good. Like I was like, wow, these hold up. Even my wife was like, this looks really good. Like I'm surprised. I was like, yeah, this is like pre CGI, so everything is done like kind of practically in a way. And I think they said the red blood cells were like Jello or something. Like so it's like I didn't watch any of the special features because I didn't want it ruined for me. But no, I think the movie held up extremely well.
Rating?
And out of 10, I'd probably give it a 12. No, out of 10, I'd probably give it a solid 8.5, like 9. Okay. It's up there. This is a movie I watched like as many times as it was on TV when I was a kid. I don't think we ever had the VHS tape. Just if it was on HBO or Cinemax or whatever, it's like if we had it or there was like a free preview weekend, I'm like, Innerspace is on, awesome. I specifically remember like going to Disney World one time and we stayed in a motel, and that night it was like a double feature of Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Innerspace. So like we watched it at the motel on TV, and it was the first time I ever saw Killer Clowns, and it was the first time I ever saw Innerspace. Both of those movies have like a I don't know, like a nostalgia factor to me that I can't get rid of. I will say Innerspace is the better movie than Killer Clowns, but yeah. Derek, I'm interested because this was your first time seeing it.
Yes.
I will say it was my first time seeing it in probably 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
So at least I don't think I watched it at all since like my wife and I base everything off of like when my wife and I got met and got together, and that was like almost 11 years ago. So yeah, I've not watched it since we've been together. So it's been quite a while. But Derek, yeah, your first time, you're a newbie going in.
Yep.
Had you heard of the movie? Had you seen a trailer? Did you know anything about it?
Actually, I knew nothing about the movie. I like almost completely blind. And in fact, my wife had seen it, and she kind of said that when she saw it as a kid, she also loved it, but she was really afraid of me watching it because there's been a couple movies where like she loved it as a kid or whatever, and then we'll watch it, kind of like what happened with Ninja Turtles 2 for me. And then, you know, like you watch it with somebody else and you remember it being awesome, and then like as you're watching it, you're like, this isn't good, is it? Like, or this is not great. However, I'm happy to say both of us loved Innerspace. I would probably give it like a low 8, like a 8.1, 8.2, something like that out of 10. And honestly, the biggest thing, I'm disappointed that I didn't get to watch it with any of the commentaries or get to watch any of the behind the scenes stuff, because I think I would just absolutely love all of that, because there's so much about this movie that I love, especially for it coming out in 1987. I think nowadays, if somebody pitched an idea like this, it's an easy, like, yeah, sure, let's do it, because the techniques that they would have used for this movie are, you know, like well worn at this point. There's a bunch of different ways to do it now. CG can kind of fill in all the body stuff or whatever, but back then it honestly, not on the same scale, but it feels very Ben-Hur-ish in the fact that somebody was like, hey, this is a script I have, this wacky idea, and I'm legitimately amazed that they were like, so somebody read that and was like, yeah, I think we can do this. Let's do it. Let's figure it out. Because so much of the movie, looks kind of dated, but from the like frame of reference of it still looks pretty darn good. And I can't believe how awesome that must have looked back in the late 80s. You know, like we had talked in our text chat, but one of the cool connections on this one is we just watched The Thing, and the creature director on The Thing, the special effects director for all the aliens and all the different permutations of it, was Rob Bottin, and he did some of the effects in this movie as well, along with, you know, some other people. ILM apparently did a bunch of work on this movie also.
Dennis Muren is listed in the opening credits as one of the visual effects supervisors, I think.
Yeah, but the scene where Martin Short's character Putter,
Jack.
Where Putter is the cowboy, and his face is like, you know, squelching up, and he's doing that whole thing. Like while we were watching it, I was like, that looks just like the weird warped faces in The Thing. I wonder if it's the same guy. And sure enough, I look it up on IMDb, and it's the same guy. And that's just really impressive to me. Everything, even some of the cheesy effects that didn't really work, like the shrinking at the end where they're in the car, and that's like, I laughed so hard when the arms come out from behind the seat and like grab them, and you can tell, you know, they're not real or whatever. It looks super cheesy, but I laughed so much that it's like I completely forgive it, because for all I know, they were going for that comedy. They were going for that like over the top look, and it works. It, for me, the majority of the movie worked. I honestly, the only part that I think didn't really work for me is the what is his name? Ego, the Snap-on guy with the he, like, you know, he's got no lines. He doesn't really say much. He just kind of does the weird like stares and looks and faces or whatever. I feel like that was really underutilized. They could have had a slightly better actor. I don't need him to do very much more. You know, he pretty much just serves as like a plot device to drive some of the stuff forward and add some tension or whatever. But I don't think they used that premise to its fullest potential.
I will say that I actually like that actor a lot. He's been in quite a few 80s movies, from Weird Science to even The Road Warrior as Wes. Like he was like in that. He's in Commando, just a bunch of stuff. I kind of there were times in this movie where I was like, he's doing the job that he, I was like, he's very effective at it. But then there are other times where I'm like, okay, like, but I think it was definitely like they were going for that kind of campy, kind of weird
totally.
thing.
It
And
just,
so he
it
kind
just
of
didn't make sense to me that he has like I couldn't tell, because even in his face, he looks like he's wearing a wig for the majority of the movie, and it's like a really kind of bad wig. So I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be like a fully android robot dude, or if he's just a guy with a, and I love there's a shot where you can see his license plate and it says Snap-on on the car, which is like the callback to the Snap-on tool trucks you see driving around. I thought that was awesome. And at first I was like, Snap-on, why would they call him Snap? And then he like literally snaps on the arm, which also I think you mentioned before we jumped on, or maybe it was like right after the scene where him and that woman
Margaret
are hooking up. Margaret are hooking up, and they show nothing on the screen. It's just
you just
the sound
hear it.
effect.
It's just the sound
It's
effect,
enough.
and I'm like,
it's enough.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's like one of those jokes that as a kid would fly right over your head, but now when you watch it as an adult, you're like, giggity, giggity.
Yeah. You actually do see just a split second of the vibrator, just in the very
like
bottom
the top.
of the frame.
I think there's like a top of it or something.
Oh, okay,
Right when he twists it on. Actually, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I was reading somewhere that this was actually one of the first, or not first, but maybe one of the only movies in the early days that was actually released in widescreen. They didn't ever pan and scan it. So even on like VHS copies, the VHS copy was letterboxed widescreen.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy, because I don't know of very many movies that
maybe it was the only way they could fit Martin Short's hair in this with it's just the whole time I'm like, the 80s, man.
The 80s. And oh my gosh, the shock on my face when Robert Picardo shows up. I did not know that he was in it. I was not expecting that at all.
The cowboy.
Like, wait, is that the doctor from Star Trek? And it's like,
what's funny is
it definitely is.
I've never watched Star Trek, but I have watched Stargate Atlantis and Stargate SG-1, and he plays a role in both of those. More in Atlantis, but I was like, oh man, there's kind of like, if you go through the cast, there's kind of like a who's who of like 80s stars in there, from like Kevin McCarthy. I'm looking at it now, it's like Robert Picardo, Wendy Shaw, whatever, Harold Sylvester. I love, like, Henry Gibson was another one. Like, he's been in so many things. I always remember him as the guy from Biodome, but he was like the one like investor guy or whatever. What I did like, and it's something that I never picked up on as a kid, was when Jack goes to the doctor because he's hearing voices, and the two people sitting next to him are Joe Flaherty and Andrea Martin from SCTV, which they were all part of. So that just was like a cool little Easter egg. I'm like, hey, that's Joe Flaherty. Oh, that's Andrea Martin. And they like, there's a ton of skits online on YouTube that you can find that they've done together. Really, really cool to just kind of see a bunch of like faces where you're like, I know that person, and I can't quite put it. Can't quite put
a bunch
them.
of these people have been in so many of the movies that I grew up on. So totally. Elon, what did you think?
Oh man, I had a great time. I mean, it is so 80s. It is so Spielberg. Even though he didn't direct it, you could tell Kathleen Kennedy and Spielberg had their hand in this, because just the feel of it, the flow of it, just a certain, like when the doctor who has the syringe is going on that long ass chase scene to try and just get away from the bad guys. There's a point where he grabs a bike that's just on some random yard, and like just seeing somebody just ride a bike with somebody chasing them. That's straight out of E.T. And even Jerry Goldsmith's score is, it's not exactly John Williams, but it's kind of John Williams adjacent. It had almost like a Goonies feel to it. Again, Richard Donner directed Goonies, but Steven Spielberg produced it. So it's like,
These
There's a lot of
guys
his
are all
sensibilities
friends,
in there.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like Joe Dante and all of these guys are all like friends with each other, and they make cameo. Like Joe Dante's in the movie for a brief second. Like he's it's like one of the employees in the lab in the beginning. Yeah, I recognize the hair right away. He's got like a weird haircut. Like you see, just look him up. Just look him up.
Yeah,
look up Joe Dante from the 80s, not now.
Right. But yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. But yeah, like, and again, the practical effects, all the stuff that ILM, because I really appreciate how before ILM, because when you associate ILM now, you associate them with CGI, like no question.
Yeah.
That's all they do now. At least I think so. Like, I don't think they have like a practical effects division. I think they are just completely CGI now. Whereas like Weta down in New Zealand with Lord of the Rings and stuff, they've got Weta Digital, but then they also have Weta Workshop, where it's just more of the practical stuff, you know, making the swords, making the Hobbit feet, all that kind of stuff. So I just really appreciate like how this is such a cool time capsule to this era where, yes, Star Wars has already been made. ILM has already been created because of Star Wars. And now they're just given tasks to create these visual effects, but just do it by any means necessary. Because CGI wasn't yet a thing. I mean, in 1985, they did dabble just a tiny bit with CGI for the first time, but it still was like just on the back burner. Nobody touched it like for more than like maybe very, very minute things.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, because I actually did end up watching not all of it, but I watched quite a bit of the behind the scenes and the making of, and like, like just all the practical stuff that they did, and like they did most everything you can see of the inside and the internal organs and everything. All the shots of the inside of the body were done in like this giant like water tank. Bowl. Yeah, it's like, it's just because like it makes sense, because the body is filled with a lot of water.
Speak for yourself, okay?
But
mine's coffee, bro.
I'm only 30% water. Just so you know. So like, yeah, just all the cool little tricks and stuff, and the things that they did to make things look like say for example, the heart, when it was showing the valves of the heart opening and closing, that is literally them puppeteering the valves. But it's shot underwater, so it looks like all this stuff. And because, you know, it's not the shot where you can see the red blood cells that are that large.
Yeah, you're talking about the part where he's getting sucked in, the heart's pumping the blood, and he's attached to the wall or whatever. Like
exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of a you can see the valves in a somewhat distant shot, and he's just this little tiny ship on the side anchoring onto the walls of the, you know, whatever. And, you know, the scenes where he's actually going through the bloodstream and the red blood cells are large, you know, they use Jello molds or whatever. But they said for that particular scene where it's a little bit wider shot, the blood cells, since they are so much smaller, that they ended up using lentils. Because they were the right consistency, they were the right like buoyancy, and they moved around and stuff, just like more realistically, like red blood cells would be. So like, man, it's just, I really love this era where it's kind of in between. You know, it's not fully CGI yet, so they just have to use their creative juices to try and come up with anything to make it look like what the director had in mind.
Yep.
And yeah, it's such a cool moment in history as far as cinema is concerned.
I love, that's probably my favorite part of this movie is the effects, not just because of literally exactly what you just said, that they tried to do this, they knew what the director had in mind, and they just came up with all these creative ways to do these effects. But the amount of detail that is in some of those effects, like I was thinking, there was several scenes that happened where I had this thought, but near the end was the one that it really, really just captivated me by the attention to detail. And it's the scene where Martin Short is trying to get in the car from the back of the truck. There's a whole scene. And there's a ton of parts where he's actually, like, you can see he's doing the stunt.
Yeah.
In some form or another, like he's got to be, I'm hoping, winched to the car or anchored or somehow connected to it, because they clearly show almost like that Van Damme commercial where he does the splits in between the two trucks. They're driving there. But then the part that got me, and again, this had happened multiple times before, but with this one, I'm still like trying to wrap my head around some of it. They show a shot of God, I'm so bad with the names of these characters. Tuck. They show Tuck in, like, within the bloodstream, and he's looking at the monitor, and obviously he's got a feed of what's going out of Martin Short's eye, and you see that same scene playing out on a tiny little monitor from Martin Short's perspective. And it like blew me away, because it's not like they had GoPros back then. You can't just strap a camera to his head and be like, yep, this is what he's looking at. It's a dude with a camera trying to simulate an ape all the action. And there's one point where like his hand like grabs it, and so in the camera, like you see the hand grab something, and I'm just like, how did they rig that truck and the car and everything to have that camera from that perspective? And again, it's something that maybe they didn't have to do that. They didn't. They could have just shown some not crazy scenes, or just, I think the very next scene, actually, because I was trying to show Kelly, I was like, look at the monitors inside his little thing, and then the next shot is kind of like a 180. It's facing Dennis Quaid so that you can't see the monitors, whereas the previous one was like from over the shoulder or whatever. So they could have just done that shot from the front and you not see any of the monitors at all. And, he could have done some exposition, been like, oh my gosh, I can see everything he's doing, and he's trying to jump out of the truck. No, they just decided to freaking show you what was going from his perspective while he's jumping from one vehicle to another. And I just was like, it's crazy good. And then there's a ton of shots that are like that. And mostly where they're showing Tuck's perspective from inside the pod, and you're seeing kind of the perspective. But I literally just thought, how cool is it that they decided they had to film each one of those scenes twice just to show it on his little monitors. And that's so cool. And then not to mention, the other effects that there's plenty of, but all of them have little details like that are really, really, really impressive. And especially for 1987, like
well, the whole slow shutter, like fast, like sped up movement, that kind of like gives it that kind of blurring. It always freaked me out as a kid, especially with like the whole like air blowing in the like mouth and how everything was kind of like slightly sped up. Like I'm fairly certain they probably shot that at like 18 frames per second or something, and played it back at like 24, right? Because it wasn't like super sped up, but it was enough where it kind of had this it kind of put you off a little bit. And I love that kind of stuff. And also, like, there's something with the way the eyes move in those scenes that it's just terrifying to me. Like, I don't know why. It's still to this day, I'm like, if you lock onto their eyes and look at them, like, you could kind of see the terror in their eyes when it's happening. It's that, I think that's what gets it, like, for me, or that's what gets me, is like that kind of thing. Cause like, we've seen like transformations in other movies, like a Total Recall, is one. Oh, Teen Wolf is another one, where like the transformation is kind of freaky, but it's like at some point you can tell that's not Michael J. Fox, that's somebody else, and so just that to see, like, also I love the introduction of Robert Picardo's character, the cowboy, and then I remember like going to my wife, I'm like, you think that's a wig? And then they switch his hair. I'm like, which is his real hair, or does he have any? Has he ever had any hair?
Bald, forever bald.
He's like a Patrick Stewart type, guy. But I just thought it was so funny, like the way he was. He like passes back out in the bathtub after he sees him transforming into him.
Right.
He's just like, huh? And just like passes back out. It was so funny.
That's actually another scene that kind of blew my mind because it's done in, I don't think there's a cut where he comes out of the bathroom and he's like, it's me, Putter or whatever. And she's like, what? And he's like, who's in there then? And he's like, the cowboy's in there. He's in the bathtub. And the camera starts on Robert Picardo as Putter. And then, it like goes away from him and it kind of like turns to her and then it follows her to go into the bathroom. And then he's back in the bathtub somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, like, I don't know really, because again, I haven't watched any of the behind the scenes stuff.
Would you like me to enlighten you?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
You go ahead, because I read about it.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a one of the, what do they call them, the switch, the Texas switch or something like that, where it's like it's a guy dressed up as him.
There's a mixture of a couple things, but Elon, I think, right? Like there's somebody dressed as him from the back, but then he had to do like a switcheroo, like behind the camera, like he ran behind the camera, and like had like quick breakaway clothes, right?
Well, yes, yeah. Robert Picardo. It's all him. Well, like obviously it's Robert Picardo when he first comes out of the bathroom, and then the camera kind of follows him a little bit, but then he kind of exits the frame for just a split second, and then it's Martin Short who comes into frame. But all you see is like the back of his shoulder and his arms as he's gesticulating as the camera's trained on Meg Ryan. And as it's trained on Meg Ryan, that's when Robert Picardo runs behind the camera, and just takes.
I'm watching it now. I just pulled it up now. You're totally right. I can totally see where it switches to Martin Short because his whole posture is different. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not catch that the first time.
But like another cool little tidbit is that as soon as he has all of his clothes off and he's in the tub, the soap dispenser was fake or like breakaway somehow. So like some like costume lady, as soon as he's in position in the bathtub, that breakaway soap dispenser moves and she takes his Martin Short wig off and puts the cowboy wig back on and then replaces the soap dispenser.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So so it's all one shot and it's all just Robert Picardo and Martin Short.
That's awesome. I'm glad I kind of clocked the Texas switch where he exits the frame and then Martin Short. Because again, I was like, we were watching it and I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Because, but you're right. I mean, now that I'm seeing it again, it's like seems so obvious in hindsight because he steps out of the frame and then when he just steps right in on the other side. So cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love this.
I know because when I saw that shot, it also got me as like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's one of those things, unless you're like paying attention, it can kind of just go unnoticed if you're not like, you're just like, oh, like you're involved in this whole scene. But yeah, that was crazy. That was one of those moments where I was like, wow. I was like, okay, I need to watch this again, like this little part. Because it just
well, you guys know me, like I love the movie magic stuff, like how they make things appear on screen. And even like some of the stuff that I had read about this as I'm patiently awaiting my disc to come so I can actually see this stuff in the behind the scenes. But some of the stuff that I was reading about the behind the scenes stuff is just how like multiple places are, pieced together from various locations. They're, like we were talking about earlier, the forced perspective stuff. They had to build a bunch of stuff in different sizes. And it's like, you don't really think about that, or at least I think most people don't think about that when they're watching movies like this, because nowadays they would just CG a lot of this stuff and it wouldn't even be that big of a deal. But like back then, there's just so, and there's so, some of the shots are just so, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they don't seem grandiose. It's like a very mundane type of shot,
Yeah.
but something that is clearly impossible is happening in the shot. And that's what gets me, is that it's like a definitely an impossible thing that you're watching. So it had to have been some kind of movie magic. And just the fact that they were like, okay, now we got to think about how we're going to do this. And then, you know, what a success.
Yeah.
What a success with a lot of this stuff.
I would say there's a lot of, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say only because I ended up pausing it on the frame where he's like pulling on his skin and like pushing stuff around. I was that. Do you know if that was makeup or is that just Robert Picardo just has like really stretchy skin? Because that also looked fake to me. He's just like,
yeah, it seemed like very stretchy to me too. I was like,
I don't know. They didn't mention anything in the behind the scenes about that.
Yeah, he just like, I mean, the nose thing, he just kind of like pushes it to the side. But when he's pulling, I mean, he gets like a good inch or two off of his face, and I was just like, I don't even think I can grab that much skin on my face. And he's literally just like grandma pulling somebody's cheeks. Anyway.
Yeah.
But once you get your Arrow copy, because of course, you know, Robert Picardo is such a ham anyway, because it is literally him telling the story of how they did that one shot. So like, of course he's, because it's not them talking to like ILM or anything or the director or anything. It's just Robert Picardo just saying how they pulled it off. So of course he's such a great storyteller that like it's great. So
I'm only highlighting Duppy's comment. Duppy is watching currently and is going to leave. Duppy was our winner for last week's giveaway, so he got a copy of Fargo. So congrats, Duppy!
Yay! Congratulations!
Hope you enjoy it. He did mention that he already had the Blu-ray copy, but he had not sprung for the 4K yet. And have it. He actually did. He actually did get picked. I mean, there's not a huge pool to choose from, but he actually did get randomly chosen from the 3 people. So
yay!
I know. I was at first it was me. We were like, we can't do that. Like that doesn't work.
Yeah. Sorry, Brad.
Sorry. No, what I was gonna say was the creativity and the inventiveness that goes into a lot of these movies from that time period, that I think there are very few directors these days doing those types of camera tricks just because they don't have to, either out of laziness or time. You know, time is I feel like everything is so condensed now when it comes to like shooting schedules that like they don't want to take the time to actually do it properly. Like we'll just fix it in post, which, as you guys are well aware, is never a good thing, even on a big Hollywood budget movie. It's just you're creating more work down the pipeline than the potential for issues. So yeah, to see them do Texas switches all the time, or I mean, God, Mel Brooks, the way he would move the camera and the jokes, like the visual gags. I think that's the other thing too, is like there's a lack of like just like visual gags anymore. Like just visual. I feel like we've kind of, in a lot of movies, that we've just kind of gone to this visual blandness in a way where it's just like every movie looks the same.
Yeah.
You know, I will say that we watched this is off topic, I apologize, but we Trish and I watched Project Hail Mary a few nights ago. Really dug it. Loved the cinematography on that. It was so funny because I was like, this feels a lot like, I've never read the books. I was like, this feels a lot kind of like The Martian. Like it flows the way The Martian does, and it's another Andy Weir. I had no idea. I had no, like, we went in pretty blind to the movie. I knew like Ryan Gosling was in it, and that was about it. So pleasantly surprised. I feel like the 4K Blu-ray will be a lot better than the stream that I watched in terms of audio.
Agreed.
The audio wasn't terrible, but it also just felt like it could have been a little more enveloping.
What'd you watch it on?
iTunes.
iTunes. Okay.
So yeah, that's where we rented it from, and it was it was definitely, it had bass, but just lacked a lot of channel separation. It was very, I don't want to say it was like center channel focus, but there was a lot of stuff in the center that just felt like, oh, this could have been a height effect or something. So I don't know if it's a different mix or whatever, but
are you talking about Innerspace or still Project Hail Mary?
Project Hail Mary. Sorry, okay. I watched Innerspace on the Arrow Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray. So,
yeah, so I'm the only one that doesn't have it.
Yeah, you suck.
I ordered it. It's not here yet.
I'd like to see an order confirmation of that, please. I think you're lying. No. Yeah, but back to Innerspace. Elon, you had talked about the casting of Martin Short as Jack, and I think that one, it's very strange because like the last thing I watched Martin Short in was I haven't watched the documentary about him yet, but what it was Only Murders in the Building.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very familiar with him as Jiminy Glick. It's just hilarious to me. But I've not seen him in anything recently, and man, he is a baby in this movie. Like, he is just a child.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, you know, we all age and everything, but it's just, I think between him and Dennis Quaid, just looking kind of super young, even like Meg Ryan. Never was a huge fan of her personally, but you know, she really didn't have a whole lot to do in this movie either,
dude. Yeah,
totally underutilized. And,
I don't know if you want to get into it right now, but I was going to get into this probably later in the stream.
I mean, it's up to you. It's your rodeo, bro. It's your world. We're all just living in it.
I mean, just you know, the fact that it's 1987, it's just so blatantly obvious. Again, just how far we've come as far as Hollywood in general, of just how women are treated in that industry.
Yep.
And the roles that they get, and the importance to a plot that they have. I mean, Meg Ryan is highly underutilized, and really the only other female roles that are significant to any degree are she's part of the bad guys, like that woman with Margaret, the striking blue eyes,
who is played for a sex joke that we talked about.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Because of course, you know, she's evil and she's, you know, got a one-track mind. She's got to get hers in the end, as well as, you know, just trying to make Jack's life a living hell. But also the
Wendy.
person Wendy that works with Jack at the grocery store.
Yep.
You know, where that whole conversation they had in the bar or the nightclub or whatever about, like, I've had, you know, I've slept with every guy at work except for you, you know, and it's like,
I had the same thought.
I was like, oh my God.
That's literally what women were for back then, is just to be a pretty face and to talk about sex and to talk about relationships and talk about being with other guys. And it's like,
Bechdel test failed.
Correct.
There's a lot of that. Like, she played the kind of just ditzy, kind of spaced out. Not want to say spaced out, but a very self-involved cashier, like at the Safeway. And so I just thought of that scene where Scrimshaw yells, "Get back here, you Safeway clerk," or something that Jack. I was just like, did he just say, "Get back here, you Safeway clerk"? Like, she, again, like another totally underutilized character there. That was another one of those actresses. I'm like, I've seen her in like about a billion different things, and I'm like, can't quite place her. I don't know why I keep doing this to the camera, like turning it into like a 90s music video, like, you only get what you give. You're totally right though. Like, that it's one of those things where it does kind of like piss me off in a way, because I'm like, you have these great actresses, or it's just these great actors that are that go on to do these massive things. You know, Meg Ryan, obviously, massive star. Like everybody knows her from like Sleepless in Seattle and that other movie she was in. I don't remember what it is. Yeah, you know that other movie where she played a woman. You know what? I would always get her and Nicole Kidman early on confused. Like I would always get those two. Like as a kid, like I was like,
Really?
I thought they were the same person. I mean, I was like,
you have face blindness as a kid?
Yeah, no, face blindness and hot dog blindness. I have that too. Like I ate a marshmallow once and I thought it was a hot dog. It was weird. But yeah. Yeah, I feel like, you know, there was that time period, like you said. It's like, yeah, this is what women are for in movies, like love interest. Oh, you know, and then to make her, you know, spoiler alert, you know, she's pregnant with Tuck's kid. He's like, I'm gonna be a dad, you know. It's like, why didn't you tell me? And it's like, you know, because you're a bum. Yeah, bum.
Well, and
get out of here.
If he was paying attention, he would have known, because
maybe if he wasn't such a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know, that was the other thing that you just kind of glossed over.
Yeah.
You know,
honestly, not to take it back too far, but like you guys are talking about, you know, what it takes to kind of set up some of this, the visuals of the movie, or like how the visual. I wonder how much of this movie was informed or was kind of influenced by Steven Spielberg, and the fact that the movie obviously had a decent budget to do a lot of the stuff that it did.
Yeah.
Because I think my biggest complaints about the movie are mostly plot stuff. The Meg Ryan thing, totally. The way that some of the characters just are underutilized. You know, I'd mentioned how Ego or Snap-on or whatever you want to call him is kind of underutilized. But then there's also like just plot points that I didn't really understand, because like they make this whole joke about you know, the scene like that you talked about, Brad, where he's getting sucked up, or maybe it was you, Elon, into the heart valve. He's getting sucked up into there, and so they make like this big deal about how he needs to keep his heart rate low and his pulse low, because otherwise he's going to get sucked. But then at like other multiple parts in the movie, he's like jumping back and forth. And at first I thought it was just like, oh, well, he exited the bloodstream at that point, so he was like in a different part of the body. But then they show him like in the bloodstream, like right after that. And then it's literally Martin Short like running around to the point where he collapses and he's breathing really heavily. And I'm like, his pulse isn't racing at that part. Like that's just not a concern anymore, or what? And that kind of stuff happened a few times where it was just like, okay, I guess we don't care about this particular piece anymore. Or, you know, like they explicitly show Tuck in her uterus, I guess, where the fetus is developing. And then the literal very next shot, they are kissing and he's somehow going into, you know, and I'm like, so he just like,
there's a straight shot right from the uterus to the esophagus. And you can just go right through. And
I guess
I didn't know that when you're kissing like that, I've never tested this obviously, but there's that much liquid going between mouths. Like I didn't, you know, let's break it down, guys. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there really that much exchange of fluids going on?
Yeah. There's a lot. That's a lot of fluid to exchange from mouth to mouth. Anyway,
how good you kiss.
I mean, I have terrible cotton mouth. But yeah, I think that like, there's again, there's a lot of, I'm sure if you guys are going to watch Gremlins or something, you're going to see a lot of kind of plot holes and stuff. It's not, you know,
Gremlins. No.
I mean, if you look at all of Joe Dante's movies, you know, he also did like The Burbs and
did he write this movie though? Did he write Innerspace?
No, I don't believe he did. No, it was written by Jeffrey Bohm and Chip Proser. So he actually didn't want to do the movie at some point, I think. And I can't remember. I read this in the trivia. Obviously, I'm looking at the IMDb trivia, so you know anybody could add shit to this.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Wikipedia. Did you know that?
I mean, in the behind the scenes, it even mentions that like it was just a script that kind of came across Steven Spielberg's desk, and like he was considering directing it himself, or Robert Zemeckis, and yeah, just some other pretty big names that were just prolific back in that day. So
well, somehow they made it work. I mean, just to me, the story is the weakest part of the movie, and I think that they got the major beats are pretty awesome. Even the whole concept of like they were testing on rabbits initially, so like the technology would still work on a human and all that. Like that mostly works. It's just some of those like the throughfares that they didn't really succeed with. But
it's so funny you mentioned Zemeckis though, because in reading the trivia, it says director Joe Dante originally turned this movie down when it was written as a sci-fi spy movie. After making Explorers, I totally didn't know he did Explorers with River Phoenix and Ethan Hawke, and the story was rewritten as a sci-fi comedy. Dante was interested once one of the writers reworking the script said, "Imagine if someone like Dean Martin is put in the space pod, miniaturized into a syringe, and injected into the body of someone like Jerry Lewis."
Yeah.
So like he changed his mind, but the script was given to executive producer Spielberg, who offered it to director Robert Zemeckis. Zemeckis didn't want to make it, so Spielberg offered it to Dante, who accepted. So yeah, them all being friends kind of makes sense, right? They're all like,
I read that John Carpenter also at some point was either talked about directing it or had expressed interest in directing it.
Correct. Yep. They mentioned that in the behind the scenes. Yeah.
Speaking of, again, off topic, totally. Have you guys ever listened to, or looked up John Carpenter's take on like popular movies, like I think it's like The Godfather and certain Spielberg movies? He is unabashedly not a fan. He's
really?
like, it's so funny hearing him talk about stuff. I think it's mainly just audio interviews or audio clips or whatever. They're from like some pretty old stuff, but it surprised me how he was just like, I just don't like it. Like Jaws was that's a terrible John Carpenter, but it's also funny because it spans a very long time period. So you get to hear a young John Carpenter and then like a current John Carpenter, it's so funny. But anyway,
years later coming back and still just bitching.
Still just bitching. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a classic. Like to me, I don't know how to kind of slice it any other way. Like this is something that I'm glad I have in my collection that I would definitely. I don't know if it's worthy of a yearly rewatch, but it is one of those movies. If I'm like, I don't know what to put on, it's in that same kind of lexicon as like just movies that I can throw on, not really like need to pay attention, just have a good time. Maybe I'll scroll on my phone, maybe I won't. It's a movie I've seen a million times. It's Back to the Future or The Great Outdoors, like I mentioned, or a bunch of other stuff. Hook is another one that I just throw on from time to time just to be like, he's a big fat panda man.
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you guys a little while ago in one of our streams that like I'm not a big fan of just buying movies that I haven't watched, or like I used to you can buy them through iTunes or whatever, and you can own them or you can rent them. And I was always opposed to renting the movies because I want to own something. But at the same time, I hate when like a new movie comes out, because I've been burned so many times. I hate buying movies that I think I'm going to enjoy and then that I don't end up liking it. And so like that's kind of my barometer for if I like a movie, is whether or not I actually go and buy the movie, to add to my collection. Because if I've added it to my collection, it means that I've either seen it already multiple times, or I know I'm going to watch it multiple times. And this is one of those movies that it was literally like that night after Kelly and I had finished watching it, I was like, that was awesome. I'm 100% going to watch it again. So it was like a easy choice for me to be like, I'm going to pick that one up. I had such a fun time watching it. Like
ordered.
Martin Short is awesome, and the effects and everything we talked about is really, really good. But I just had such a fun time watching the whole thing, and the number of times that my mind was blown. I was 4 years old when this movie came out, so
Yeah.
It's like thinking about how they did all that stuff is really cool. And all I could think about was how much I wanted to see the back or behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like a big part of that too. I'm really glad it's a Arrow release too.
Yeah.
That's another one that I'm struggling with. Is I've bought RoboCop, the movie RoboCop, multiple times, and Arrow has a release of RoboCop 4K transfer that was supervised by Paul Verhoeven, and they always do like special features that are unique to the Arrow stuff. So I'm like very, very tempted to pick that up. I've literally bought the movie 4 or 5 times, and I'm probably gonna buy it again just because the only one that I haven't gotten is Criterion did a DVD release of RoboCop that is supposed to be like the definitive one, and I did not get a chance to pick that up, and it's out of print. They don't make it anymore, and anybody that has it is like not willing to give it up as far as when I last searched or whatever. But RoboCop's another one of those movies that I love, kind of like what you're talking about, Brad. If I don't know what to watch, RoboCop goes on,
Yeah. Fun fact. This is the only film directed by Joe Dante to win an Academy Award, which it won for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah, which is not really his deal, but
I know.
Yeah, it's not his. Yeah,
right.
He may have come up with the idea, but the execution was somebody else.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
You done good, Joe. Yeah, man.
Anything else? I'm trying to think of if there was anything else that stood out to me while we were watching. It's been a couple days though.
I do. It was just funny. It was funny seeing the beats, like the very, very small, just flashes of what I remembered as a kid, because it has literally been that long. Like, maybe even pre 10 years old. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen this, but the moments that I remembered, I mean, were fairly accurate. They're like pretty much how like as soon as they happened, it like instantly somehow went back to that very, very dark, deep cavern in my brain where those memories had been stored. And it like just kind of brought them back up to the surface. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the context changed for you, or were you like completely aware of what was happening when you watched it as a kid?
Because it was literally just random snippets. So like I didn't remember anything. I didn't have like any emotional connection as far as the plot was concerned. I just knew that it was a movie that happened, and I only remember very tiny little spots. But yeah, when the air jet is making Martin Short's cheeks puff up, I remember that part distinctly. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but when he's hitting himself and he goes, when he's driving a car, and Martin Short's character, when he's driving a car and he's getting pissed off at God, what's his name now?
Tuck?
Tuck. When he's getting mad at Tuck, they're having an argument or whatever, and he starts hitting himself. He's like, "Where are you, you little weasel?" Like, for whatever reason, that stuck with me. And then when he plays the music super loud when he's inside Meg Ryan's character, and
that's what you mentioned when we first talked about watching this in our text messages. I remember that because I didn't even understand the context of what you were saying.
Right.
But you're like, he plays music really loud inside of Meg Ryan, and I'm like, like, what are we getting into here?
Right.
Eventually that will make sense, Derek.
Yeah. Definitely.
And the visual of seeing the baby inside her uterus, that was that definitely was a core.
Wait, babies
memory.
are in the uterus?
Yes.
I thought it was in the stomach.
Yeah, so it was cool. Like I don't think there were any other moments that were like, oh my god, yeah, that part. I remember that part when I was a kid. But yeah, it's just funny. It's funny with the random things that you latch onto as a kid. So I'm excited to see Batteries Not Included next week, or for next week's stream, because gosh, if I only remember little snippets from Innerspace, I only remember barely anything from Batteries Not Included.
Same. I haven't seen Batteries Not Included in a long time, so I'm also excited to see that, because that is one that I have seen, but have again positive memories. I hope it doesn't go the TMNT2 route. But my memories of that movie feel positive to me, but I can't, there's only a couple scenes that I could actually be like, and as soon as they happen, kind of like you're saying, I know I'm going to recognize them. I hope the movie itself holds up.
Right. It turns out it's like super racist and of its time. It's like, damn it.
It's so funny how many movies you watch and you're like, wow, like this is yeah. This is a weird time period.
Like when I watched is a couple of months ago when my wife and I sat down and watched Boondock Saints. Oh boy, that is a film of its time for sure.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes in it are like, oh, can't get by with that anymore.
Well, now I'm going to have to watch that one too.
Yeah.
That's funny.
If you guys do that on a stream, I am out. I'm not going to force myself to watch that more than once.
Boondock? You didn't like Boondock Saints?
I hated Boondock Saints with a passion.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you and I have had this. We talked about it on the phone one day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of watching the documentary about the making of it and how much of a freaking big pile of crap Troy Duffy is. And I was like, yeah, I'm never going to say. I didn't think the movie was great to begin with.
I mean, it can't be that great to me either, because I'm pretty sure, like, I think I saw it either late high school or like early college, and I don't think I've seen it again since. I just remember Willem Dafoe being really, really good in that movie.
Yeah.
Yes, he is definitely the.
I mean, isn't that him in every movie though? Like, he is literally like.
That's
when
true.
you think of like Spider-Man or say the American Psycho, like. Isn't fantastic.
Johnny Lee Miller in it too, though? He was in Hackers. I think that's what I'm like. Those two I really remember, right? Is Johnny Lee Miller
as the leads in Boondock Saints?
Yeah,
like Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus.
That's not what I'm thinking of. What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Sean Patrick Flannery from Powder, and guys remember that movie
Powder?
He did?
That wasn't that like the same movie as that John Travolta Phenomenon?
Yeah.
Right.
They just didn't have Eric Clapton for the soundtrack.
Right.
Bob Marley.
Or Brent Spiner as the scientist that comes in and quizzes. Specifics, Bob. Sorry.
Who did you say, Derek?
I thought Johnny Lee Miller from Hackers. But I don't see. I'm looking through his IMDb listing, and I don't see anything on there. So probably not. I don't know.
Hackers. I haven't seen that movie in years.
Kelly and I just watched it. It's not great, but I have like a sweet spot for Hackers because a lot of what
Matthew Lillard
movie. Yeah,
come on, Jesse Bradford, Fisher Stevens' neck.
Yeah. Penn Jillette is in it, for God's sake.
That's right.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Right. Yeah.
It's just as somebody who I will say when I was younger was kind of in the hacker scene, a lot of what happens in that movie is actually accurate, or at least based on stuff that was actually happening at the time. It just didn't look at all like what they showed from it. Like the trick of feeding the quarters to like recording the tones that the phone made with a tape recorder. You could actually do that back in the day. We used to do that all the time. I had a little Sony tape recorder. It only worked for a certain like subset of payphones, but there was payphones around my house where you could do that, and it would play like little clicking tones. And if you picked up the phone and played the tones back, you could do that. There's some other stuff, about like how he's downloading the files, or like the way that he navigates through some of the stuff makes sense. It's just, they put this whole like 3D facade and all that over it. That is like, that's
Yeah.
that's not, the techno babble is extremely bad in that movie, but most of it is based on like somewhat real situations that you could do back in the day.
Were those phone booths like literally around your house? Like you have a phone booth garden?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A phone booth garden.
I had a phone booth garden.
That's
no, but the party store
my
down the
phone
street
booth
from me
garden.
did.
Sorry. So
it's the name of my next album, Phone Booth Garden.
Yeah, and the hot dog blindness.
Yeah, buddy.
But yeah, I think Innerspace. Check it out.
Yeah,
if you haven't.
One of the
at least once.
last thing before we go. One of the funny things about the behind the scenes is like the director and producers and several people towards the end of the behind the scenes, documentary, just trash on the marketing because they're like,
I'm sure.
I mean, like if we had it our way, we wouldn't have called it Innerspace. We thought a lot of people just got a little confused by the name of it. And I think that's why it didn't do that well in the box office. I mean, it eventually became kind of a cult classic.
Yeah.
But it didn't have a great theatrical run. And like, so it's just
the marketing was like non-existent almost.
Yeah.
They just didn't know how to they didn't know how to market it. I remember reading that. And so
that's crazy that you have such a like compelling cast and a cool story and just an awesome creative movie. And then they just like, I almost want to do like, or at least have a conversation maybe where we talk about like movies that bombed because of that. Cause that immediately makes me think of like John Carter and how terrible the marketing for that movie was. I didn't even have any interest in seeing it. And then a friend of mine was like, no, John Carter was awesome. Like that's such a great movie. And I watched it in 3D and thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I'm so sad that
we could do a whole stream or a whole podcast about that, about like going into movies kind of blind where you don't know much about it, but you don't read reviews, which is, I mean, we're in a kind of like a day and age now where like, I try not to read reviews of movies. I don't even like watching the trailer. Just give me the cover art. That's about as much as I want to know about the movie, because if I go in with expectations at all, I might be disappointed. So it's like, to go into like, I was the same. Like I saw John Carter and I was like, I really enjoy this movie. And it completely like took me by surprise when people were like, this movie's terrible. Like it.
Did you see it?
I was like, did you see this? Like John Carter of Mars? Or are you confusing it with Ghosts of Mars with Ice Cube? Like that was terrible. That was John Carpenter too. Like
that's like when grandma buys you a disappointing gift for Christmas, like those like rip-off movies. Ghosts of Mars was terrible.
Yeah.
But I thought you said you wanted the Mars movie.
Mars movie. Grandma.
Oh, flipping idiot.
But yeah, I had the same experience. Like I think I actually saw John Carter at the theater, to be honest, and I think I just went by myself because I was a fan of Andrew Stanton, the director, who did Finding Nemo.
That's what convinced me to watch it.
Yeah, because I know he's a fantastic director. He knows how to craft a story and do it well. But I was also like jazzed about the CGI. It looked incredible in the trailers. So despite it looking like, like they marketed it, just some action-packed gladiator type thriller, I didn't care about that. I was like, sure, whatever. I'm still going to go see it because it's Andrew Stanton.
Yeah.
And I want to support him. And I loved it. And I was just so disappointed that it bombed because of the gigantic budget that it had. Because it literally, I mean, it didn't ruin Andrew Stanton's career, but it definitely sidelined him as a director for especially live action movies, because I know he's done some Stranger Things episodes since then. So he's obviously still like directing things, that's for sure. But man, Andrew Stanton needs another chance for sure.
Yeah.
He's great. He's a great director.
I mean, the same can be said about Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Another great director. I actually rather enjoyed Tomorrowland, like I thought for what it was a pretty fun movie. Kind of got crapped on. And then
is that the one with George Clooney?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never saw that one.
I never saw that one either. And again, Brad, you talking about it reminds me of the conversations that I had with people that made me not watch John Carter when it came out in theaters and when it initially came out on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever. I had no interest in seeing. And literally, like I remember having a conversation with somebody, because isn't like the book, the first book in the John Carter series is called like The Princess of Mars or something. And I just remember. I remember them saying, "Don't worry about the title. It's based on a book series called about a book called Princess of Mars. It's really cool." And I was like, "That doesn't sell me on it at all."
No.
I know that was part of why the marketing was kind of like hosed for it a little bit, but that's sad to hear that Innerspace suffered from the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They literally just didn't know what to do.
Did they say what they wanted to call it or what they were planning on calling it?
I don't recall, honestly. I think they were just shitting on the fact that they had to go with Innerspace in the end. But yeah, I mean, it's like, sorry to go back to John Carter, but why didn't they call it John Carter of Mars?
They did. It got changed. From what I understand, they didn't want to call it Princess of Mars, so Stanton actually compromised, and it was supposed to be called John Carter of Mars. And then it might have been because of Ghost of Mars. They didn't want two movies in the theater that both had Mars in the title, so they dropped the of Mars. But if I'm remembering it correctly, they had a bunch of posters printed up, like a bunch of marketing materials that got released in Europe that still had John Carter of Mars. But in the US, all the stuff got branded as just John Carter. Yeah, that was part of the issue, was that they had changed the title of the movie multiple times. And so it's kind of another one that reminds me of that is Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
I literally just looked it up because it was Edge of Tomorrow, and then they added Live, Die, Repeat, and that really confused people. Yeah. And then it was like Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. What?
Yeah, because it was supposed to be, so that one is based on a book called something like 8 Seconds to Kill or something like that, or some movie, it's a short story or whatever. I guess it was like a anime or a manga or something like that.
Anime,
there you go. No, because anime is the like video, manga are the comics, right?
Yeah, manga is the comics.
Based on a manga.
I've never heard anyone call it anime. I've always heard it called anime.
Oh.
But I was kind of making fun of you a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I'll go.
It was supposed to be called it's supposed to be called something like that. Something about kill. All you need is kill. That's what it was. It was supposed to be called All You Need Is Kill. And they were like, that doesn't make any sense. And then they pitched Live, Die, Repeat. Because kind of the plot.
Yeah.
And then when they initially, again, I think in the EU were like releasing the first like preliminary stuff, people were like confused by what that meant. So then they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow, and then people didn't know at all like what the movie was about. So then they added back the Live, Die, Repeat, as like the subtitle of it or whatever. Right. And then again, it just never really recovered from that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about movies, not to extend this further than we need to, but something that's been seeing a resurgence lately, just because the 4K Blu-ray came out, is Speed Racer from 2008. The Wachowskis.
Yeah.
I've always disliked that movie, even though I get what it was designed to do and designed to look like. People are saying, well, the movie got a bad rap because of XYZ when it came out, and people just didn't get it. I was like, no, I got it. I got the intent. that still doesn't make it a good movie. You know what I mean? Like it's still like watching like just some I mean, it just looks so terrible. It looks so bad. Do you guys remember that movie with Mila Jovovich called like Ultraviolet or whatever?
Yes.
It came out and it was all like green screen because the whole movie's green screen, right?
Yeah.
And Speed Racer, same thing, the hyper saturated colors, and it looks like a really like someone just took the saturation
Like
and
an
just
anime?
really like anime and just went like that all the way, like max side. Like, can we go past max? Like to the point where like reds just go like, you know, they're just like this jarbled mess of just
have you seen the cartoon, the anime of Speed Racer?
I have, and they matched it. It's so close.
But do you like
in live
the
action
anime stuff?
No,
as well. Oh, okay.
No.
So, well,
No,
I mean,
I see what they did, but what I'm saying is, it's still the plot. It doesn't change the plot points of the movie.
mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people were saying is like, well, because I think a lot of people were just saying visually people weren't ready for it. And I understand that. But from like a plot like element, that's like saying Jupiter Ascending is now a good movie. It's never going to be a good movie. You know, like
what?
The Wachowskis have not made a decent movie since like V for Vendetta. You know, like,
yeah.
So it's really hard to like, you remember the Matrix, like they redid, like they came out with a new Matrix and it was all like hyped and you watched it and you're like, what the did I just watch? Yeah.
I never saw, and I still actually haven't seen Speed Racer, the movie, but I've seen it talked about in multiple places similar to what you're saying, that it's like, oh, you got to give it a chance. It's a much better movie if you go into it kind of open. And I'm still a little bit, blind. I haven't watched any of the trailers. I've seen screenshots of it here and there, so I know what you're talking about with the style or whatever. But when it first came out, it was like only a couple years. God, what's that Jude Law movie? It was like one of the first movies that was filmed. Sky Captain.
Yes, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
And the World of Tomorrow. Yep.
And Angelina Jolie's in it too.
Yep. And I remember I watched Sky Captain, and I don't think I finished the movie because I was like it's cool that they're able to do this, but kind of like what you're saying, that doesn't make it a good movie. And I don't think I liked Sky Captain at the time. And all I remember of Speed Racer is when I either saw the early trailers or, maybe when it first came out or something. I remember having that same reaction of like, it just looks really weird to me to the point where I don't think I'll be able to get into it. But now I kind of want to watch it just to see, did I miss out on something or,
I've never
or
seen
is
it
it just
either.
people hyping it up because it's an anniversary? I think when it come out 2008.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
It'll be 2 years from now. Will be like
20 years,
20th anniversary or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've gotten away from the using visual, like the like visual technicality, things like that to tell the story. Whereas like we're talking about Sky Captain and Ultraviolet and Speed Racer and all of these things use the visuals as the story, right? Like it's purely about, oh, we can do this. Look at what we can do, where something like Pleasantville kind of, did some cool stuff and like things that you never seen before, but it was relative to the plot of the movie. Yeah. Whereas like now it's just like, okay, the whole movie's green screen. That's great. Still doesn't make it a good movie because that's kind of you're watching it.
Wonder why is it getting like, at least for Speed Racer, why is it getting a 4K release? Like Innerspace, I can totally see why that got a 4K release. It looked great, so I thought that the transfer, at least from what I could tell, again the graininess was there, but it wasn't like it was distracting. But Speed Racer just seems so technologically heavy. That what's the benefit of putting it in 4K? Were the masters even, was it?
It was a 2K master, so it was never in 4K. They never.
So there you go.
Yeah. The entire movie was just, I think, an upscale.
So it isn't really getting any better than it was when it was initially released in HD.
I mean, I think the main benefit is HDR, but for a movie like that with nuclear looking colors already, it can get rid of a lot of the banding that may have been on the Blu-ray, but because they can really push the saturation and the luminance and everything of colors in HDR. It's even more of kind of like an eye strain instead of like a visual, like something visually cool looking. You know, it just becomes this hyper saturated, like, okay, I feel like I'm at like a Best Buy watching a tech demo, you know, with motion smoothing on or something. And it just doesn't, it doesn't work.
That's kind of what I wonder. Like, were the Wachowski sisters involved with this 4K restoration of Speed Racer?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Because for movies like that, I actually don't really like watching the HDR versions or like the 4K remasters if they're not, you know, if they weren't involved, created with that in mind, then there's people making choices about how to do that conversion that could potentially change it in a way that the original creators didn't intend. So I would much rather watch it in the original format that they intended it rather than something, unless they were involved with that process.
Yeah. Barry Sonnenfeld actually was very against HDR in the beginning because they were taking his films and converting them into HDR, like Men in Black, and he didn't have a say in it. I don't know if Men in Black was one of them, but he's like, it's just brighter. Like, that's not how I wanted the movie to look, you know? And so you need, just because you can have maximum brightness on everything doesn't mean that you need maximum brightness on everything. Like, the average picture level on some of these movies is just so astronomically higher than what's on the standard Blu-ray. And that's not the point of HDR. And I think people forget that it's more about expanding the range, not just raising the picture level. You know, you get more colors. Like, it's benefit across the board, but it's like the core picture should look very similar to a regular like SD Blu-ray. Just like a middle gray should look middle gray.
Well, it's like when we talked about David Fincher, the scenes in Fincher's movies that got the HDR treatment, I think look, at least from the dark scenes, look better because you can see a little bit more, but it still maintains that darkness. And that's what he was going for. So it's like, I like those types of transfers or conversions.
I'll add this last little thing. Oh, go ahead, Elon. Sorry.
I just looked, just real quick, I just looked it up on Blu-ray.com, and this latest edition of Speed Racer is upscaled 4K.
Yep.
It's like,
why is everybody
I don't want
about
that.
it like it's supposed to be some
maybe the cut, maybe the HDR. I don't know. No, what I was going to say though is it is a slippery slope when the director or cinematographer gets involved, because they can make new choices based on, you know, maybe they changed their mind after the fact, or it can look different than the original. And we see that actually the Fight Club 4K version looks slightly darker in a lot of scenes than the Blu-ray. So what's correct though, because the Blu-ray has been out for years. So was that just a byproduct of that, or did they go in and tweak it? Because just because you can like make it a little darker, add a little more contrast, should you?
Well, it's the George Lucas question. Can you know, do you go back and CG stuff to make the CG better or cleaner or whatever?
Right.
Mine's on the way.
Yeah. Or James Cameron, just get rid of all the grain. Everybody look like
exactly that kind of stuff. But again, if that's how they want the movie to be remembered, then they, as the creator, get that choice. I guess what I'm opposed to is when people that aren't involved, and I completely agree. Even the creator can make different choices that maybe aren't the best, but it's their work. So at the very least, like, if they're involved in the process, then I at least feel like I'm seeing what they want me to see out of that, whether that's different now 20 years later because they're seeing it from different eyes, but that's wildly different from a movie that is being converted or changed in a way that doesn't even have any input from the creator, and it's just somebody who is doing that kind of on their behalf because they think it's better. And I mean, even that, I'm not even sure how I feel about that question, because sometimes these people doing these restorations are more particular and more caring about those conversion processes than some of the filmmakers that, you know, are just coming in after the fact and making these decisions. So I don't know, but my default, I think, is to, if the creator's involved, then I'm assuming that I'm getting what they want me to be seeing.
So that's it. I could add more, but we'd be here all night.
Yeah, we're
On
already
that
talking
note-
longer. I mean, we're not talking about Innerspace anymore, but
Doesn't
I
matter.
didn't think we
This
should
is
talk
the
about
open
it.
hour.
Yeah.
We're to call the open.
Yeah.
Open last 15 minutes.
People should expect that from
Right,
us
Elon.
at this
What's your
point.
diet like? No.
How's your
Yeah.
fiber intake?
Yes. Colon
Um,
blow. Heard of it?
Well, then I'll give another shout out to everybody. If we can put it up on the screen, our Substack, subscribe to the newsletter, find out about all that stuff, and you can be like Duppy and some of our other previous winners. We will be giving out a copy of Innerspace for one lucky paid subscriber. Ooh, that looks small. That's not an actual
It's
card,
a coaster. It's a coaster.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was gonna
I
say
got a whole set
that
of
looks
them.
really small. For
Wait a
NES
minute.
cartridge.
It's just me. Oh, look. I just realized the back have the
Oh, wow.
super cool. Anyway.
Yeah. hiddenmovieclub.substack.com. Join the $5 pledge tier to be able to win our giveaways of 4K
Innerspace.
physical. Although, if you're not that into physical media, we can also hook you up with maybe a gift card or something, whatever.
No. Physical media.
But we prefer to
Physical
give
media.
away physical media copies, of course.
Yeah. Speaking of, if anybody that watches or listens to this, I unfortunately am late to the game and would like to start ripping my 4K Blu-rays, and I understand that all the good Pioneer drives are gone now. So if anybody would like to help me, I just want to know how to rip my 4K collection in a way that I can preserve all of my discs.
Yeah.
I
For
went down a whole
realsy.
rabbit hole. I, visited several forums and just
They don't
seems
make them like they used to.
Well, they're
sure
apparently
don't.
discontinuing all of the 4K drives that you can get to rip the movies, and even the ones that they have, some of them are kind of like portable drives that have been repurposed because you can flash the firmware so that
Yeah.
you can actually do the ripping and all that stuff. So, Bro5 says he's got the LG drive. I heard that the LG drives are not very good and don't last very long though.
Yeah.
But
That's
anyway,
what I have, and it's dead. So I should tell you.
really, you got an LG drive and it died?
Yeah, remember I said, oh yeah, I have a dead drive that just.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm glad that I didn't go the LG route because.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all like that, but I'm sure that
Well, I mean, it's slim pickings now because
Yeah,
Pioneer's not
that's-
making new drives, and there's only like 3 different manufacturers that still make drives that you can use for ripping.
Mhm.
Apparently, they all have
Yeah.
added some kind of DRM or other such nonsense. So
I mean, if you want an HD DVD add-on drive for the Xbox 360, I still have one of those.
Hey, I know. Just the other day, when I finally got my Fight Club Steelbook, it comes with the Blu-ray copy, and my disk drive and make MKV wouldn't read it because it's got this new version of
Really?
copyright protection,
Oh,
even on the standard Blu-ray. And it's like,
was your Steelbook for Fight Club the UK version?
no.
It's like region free, but the one that I got has like the European markings on it. And I don't know why that is.
Oh, okay. Well, then
So
yours might actually work. I don't know.
Curious, I'll see.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
I bought mine from Orbit.
You would orbit.
that
Oh.
drink that has the little balls in it. Oh no, it was Orbits. Sorry, Orbits from the 90s.
And actually, I just looked up to my receipt. I don't know how I didn't notice it. It literally says on the receipt it's the UK limited edition steelbook. So I just wasn't paying attention. All right.
Good job.
Anyway.
Steelbook, boop, 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 steelbook.
All right. Keep on watching movies. Buy the discs when you can. Reward the people that make these awesome movies.
Yes. 2 weeks from now, for our next After the Credits live stream, we're doing Legally Blind. So it's actually coming out in theaters at the end of May. So if you're listening to this or an earshot of this, go see Legally Blonde in the theater if you can.
Yeah, man.
Otherwise,
Do it.
we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, and next week is batteries not included for double take. So
Yeah,
come on, check out batteries not included with us.
definitely not streaming anywhere because it is a very unique 80s movie. So yeah, I had to get it on Blu-ray. That's the only way I could watch it. Or you can rent it, whatever. Hooray. Thanks, peeps. Have a good time.
Peace, everybody. Thanks
Bye,
for watching.
everybody.
See you soon.
See you on the flip side.
Yeah.